These people got absolutely destroyed at Auburn with a lake. Clemson. Where's the damn duck? I had to take the duck off for scientific reasons earlier. Don't worry, got the duck right here. Put the duck right back on there. Where it goes. The Miami Ducks got absolutely destroyed by the Clemson Taters yesterday. This was never a game, never a contest, and I didn't expect it to be one all week, and it wasn't. This is, I think I might have said this last week on the Your Season is Over video. I know I said it on some other videos. I'm not trolling. I'm not even trash talking. This is the worst Miami team I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I started watching college football on TV in the mid to late 80s. This is the worst Miami Hurricanes football team I've ever seen. I made a video about this the other day. They've got locker room issues, culture problems. And I hate to, I love Coach Coop. He's probably the nicest guy on all of YouTube. I met him at the Slob Olympics. He's a great guy. But part of Miami's problem, in my opinion, is the you thing, 5 rings, all of that. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. And by continuing to perpetuate the lie that is Miami today is Miami 25 and 30 years ago, is causing problems today in Miami's locker room and on the field. These players and coaches cannot live up to what the fans, some of them, still view Miami as, which is a powerhouse, nationally relevant football program. They aren't. They aren't. And before you tell me I'm wrong, Miami has been in the ACC for 18 years. They haven't won it a single time. The whole 5, Coop wears the hat all the time that's got the 5 on it. That's not who you are. It's literally no different than some Harvard or Yale fan running around screaming about 28 rings. It doesn't mean anything. And the kids that are at Harvard and Yale now can't live up to the Harvard and the Yale that won 28 rings 100 years ago. And the Miami program now, not only is the Miami team, we know the Miami team is not on the level of those teams from 25 and 30 years ago that were unbelievable in winning national titles. The program is not on that level. It's not. And heaping those type of expectations on every new coach you get every 3 years and every player that comes in, and bringing Ed Reed to come down there and hover around people with a no-show mob job, none of that is helping. The fans running around with all the U gear, all about the U. You might as well, you'd be better off running around with something that said it's all about the Lou. Because I'm more relevant. Listen to me. And you're gonna think I'm just bragging and being big-headed, and I kind of am. I kind of am. But listen, and this is going to be a hard pill for you to swallow. But like everything else I've ever told you about Miami and your football program, this is also true, okay? Uncle Lou is more relevant in the world of college football today than the Miami Hurricanes football program is. No one cares about the U and the 5 rings. They don't. No one cares about Ed Reed or Ray Lewis or whatever other players y'all think should be down there hovering around the locker rooms nonstop. This is the worst Miami team I've ever seen. You've got parents bitching and moaning publicly to the coaches about their kids not getting enough playing time, like this is rec league football. This is bad. The best thing that can happen to Miami, in my opinion, is that their fans throw away every single piece of merchandise they own that says the U or has any reference to 5 rings, throw it all away. That's step 1. Step 2, don't ever mention it again. Step 3, about 20 or so players on that roster need to hit the portal the minute you lose to whoever you're playing next week. And you need a complete start over, a complete do-over, ground up rebuild, not just of that team, but of that entire program. And if you are convinced that Mario Cristobal is the man to do that, then I don't want to hear a single Miami Hurricanes fan talk about firing him for a minimum of 5 fucking years. 5. You're nowhere close. For a while, Florida State was playing around in the mud puddle with you. Not anymore. Florida State's a top 15 team right now in college football today. And because of the way Florida State has turned into a top 15 team this year, it's not a one-hit wonder deal. They had patience with Mike Norvell. They suffered through a couple of bad years. You know what they didn't do? Constantly yell about a national title they won with Jimbo Fisher while Mike Norvell was struggling 1 or 2 years, having to clean up the mess that was left behind by the previous administration. They gave him time. They let him build a roster through recruiting and key transfers here and there. They suffered through humiliating losses without bitching and moaning about the U and 5 rings and how Ed Reed and Ray Lewis need to save the day. They were patient. And now Florida State's one of the best 15 teams in the country today. And because Mike Norvell and that staff were allowed to build that program the right way from the ground up, they're likely to be a top 15 team next year and the year after and the year after. This isn't a case of 2017 Miami where you have one good year where you win 9 or 10 games and then you're right back in the friggin' toilet again. Any team can do that. Look at Tennessee this year. Look at Kansas this year. Look at Northwestern or Minnesota a couple of years ago. Who else has had one good year out of the friggin' blue? Michigan State makes the playoffs out of the blue. Now they're battling for bowl eligibility. Anybody can do that once every 5 or 6 years if they get lucky or get 1 or 2 transcendent players. To develop a top 15 program takes time, patience, hard work, and dedication. And your big brother to the north in Tallahassee has done that. And history tells me that when Florida State starts to roll, they don't stop for a while. So I'm here to tell you right now, this is not a 1-year problem. This is a 20-year problem. You're in year 20 of this problem. It's not getting solved next year. It doesn't matter who the coach is. You're not winning 10 games next year. Florida State is. And one of those 10 wins is going to be against you again. You know what you need to concentrate on right now? Recruiting, patience, being supportive of the coaching staff, and hoping that next year you beat teams like Middle Tennessee State and Duke, because you're not beating teams like Clemson and Florida State next year. You're not. You're not. And running around with hats that say 5 rings and talking about the U from 30 years ago isn't going to change that. Just like it hasn't changed it any over the last 20 years. Uncle Lou is more relevant in the world of college football right now than the Miami Hurricanes are. It's a sad reality, but it's reality nonetheless.